What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Reborn. This is the Resurgence series and everything, and I'm just here with my good old friend, Brother Pastor Ed. How's it going?
Everything's well. It's staying warm outside. It's
Hunky-dory?
nice. It is wonderful out there.
It is too hot and too miserable. But I'm glad you're doing good. Got some awesome news. A little bit of a shout-out moment right now. We actually got a new member to our team. And she's actually right now behind the camera instead of me having to do all these angles, which is one, and editing and all this stuff. Her name is Kaya, and she's going to be helping us on the backside of Reborn. It's going to be a huge amount of help.
Hopefully she doesn't try to interject too much or correct us on our verses or anything like that.
For sure. That's why we have it mute back there for now.
Okay.
But till then, you might see her pop up in a couple of videos in the future. Just going to do a couple of things I'm going to challenge her to also help out with the teens' growth and stuff like that, and a couple other things that I'm looking forward to.
I was watching a group of guys talking, and their sound guy, he was sitting in there with it. Every once in a while, speak up.
I know. I've seen
idea.
That's kind of fun.
I can't wait to hear put in her 2 cents worth.
I know. I'm very excited. We'll see if she's bashful behind the camera.
Yeah.
I know I was at first. By watching the old videos and everything, I could see how robotic I was.
Oh.
But I bet you have a question about this that I have right here, huh?
Baseball or basketball cards?
Basketball. Are you familiar
cards.
with what basketball is?
Well, I've played it.
Oh, good. I've watched it. I played, but I got cut from the team because I was too short.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those moments. My sister is over 6 foot, so she was able to always make the team.
Well, sure.
But I could outshoot her.
Oh.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Now it's on video, and it's permanent.
I think that's one of those, so guys and gals cannot compete with each other on the basketball court.
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh-oh.
But, no, so I brought this out here because it's kind of something of a segue towards what I want to talk about, and that's hobbies and things like that. I actually overheard a couple people talk about how you do that, but there was that moment, I don't know if you saw, and for the people out there, about the Dallas card show and what happened.
$2 million?
$2 million in cards.
Man,
Talk about a very sinful act right there.
Yes.
But it was like 5 Mickey Mantles, and they were averaging like around $300K or something. I read the notes, and now I forgot the cost and the card list. But it amazes me how far some people will go, and it's kind of sad.
Sure, yeah, it is.
It's very sad, especially when you're looking at things that people want to enjoy, like a hobby and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that brings into
it's funny you said that. My sister gave Laura a pack. My dad worked at the post office. Gave her a packet of collector stamps, and these things go back to the 1940s.
Oh wow!
So, and they're in these little wax cellophane kind of paper, and so each one of them are collectibles. There's 11 here and 7 here, and there's different numbers. I think I got like 5 packs of these. She goes, here, they gave this to us, and so I'm going, oh wow, let me take a look at it. So I look at the stamp and I type it in on the thing, and I look it all up and I go, this whole pack is worth $5.
And that's funny, like. And that's what wanted me to bring into this topic is about hobbies and stuff, is because I overheard some people, and it had me curious, and I wanted your insight on it, is that can hobbies be a detriment to your life and into your beliefs?
Sure.
I feel like it can be, but I feel like you can make a well balance out of it as well.
I think you have to. There's lots of insights I think it can be gained by sitting on a bank fishing.
Oh yeah.
You think about stuff. I used to when I'd go fishing with my dad, and back up home, we'd sit in the boat, and I had my New Testament with me, and I'd let him catch up on the fishing, right? Because I'd caught more than him, and I could just read, or I'll think of something, I'll look in the Bible and just get that verse recollected. So hunting. Now I'm not a sitting hunter; I'm a walking hunter. So we never did deer hunting or anything.
I'm not surprised.
Squirrel and rabbit, quail, that kind of stuff is what we did. With that, but in the right, I think that God gives us those things and those pastimes to calm us, right? To calm us down. David, he was a musician, right?
Yeah.
King David, your mom's favorite guy.
Oh gosh, yeah, don't get me started. Shout out there.
He played musical and he invented musical instruments. So I think they're a very powerful way to take our minds off of things, and at the same time be able to be inflective, right?
Right, and I'm glad you say that, because I honestly, so with my busy, hectic schedule that I always have to deal with, especially when storms roll around, and I apologize to my viewers with the level of work I have. When storms happen, I get called out,
Sure.
and things happen from there. But going back, what eases me and is kind of like a opportunity, not as like an scapegoat, but when I'm done with work and then taking care of the kids, hanging out with my wife, doing a little Bible study, I like to use that wind down time. And me personally, and especially with my daughter, because it's something I built with her,
Right.
is collecting cards and stuff. Because I love sports. I've always enjoyed sports and played it growing up. And two, it just gives me an opportunity to just, like, I don't know, just the artwork on a card always catches my attention.
Right.
Especially when they're like sinking threes, or like soccer ones when they're goal shots and stuff like that. But
you find when you're playing a game, do you not find the sense of camaraderie that comes and being able to just talk the game and talk the trash,
right?
The whole thing just kind of.
I did both very good on the field.
When I played golf, I was a good trash talker. I just wasn't a good player.
Right. Soccer, I was that way. Well, I was a good player. I can't bash myself on that one. Well, that was me being very modest there. But yeah. So and using that hobby, it gives me another opportunity with like my kids and everything to have another bonding experience. Like Harper loves basketball and she likes Luka Doncic a lot, and we rip packs and everything. She get excited for that, and I get excited for Spurs players and stuff. So here's where I'm going to throw a little curveball. Slow, like for example, like collecting cards, Pokemon stuff. In the future, my card game that we're hoping to get out and stuff. What happens when people add value to those things? Does you know what I mean?
Add value.
Well, like what we talked about earlier about the card show, that $2 million worth of cards got stolen.
I think that's part of the. It's like going to a garage sale, looking for treasures, and sometimes you really do.
Yeah.
Right? And I know, and you probably do too. One of the guys at church here, he loved going to garage sales, but he knew about the glassware stuff.
Oh wow!
And he knew about that stuff, and he'd buy it for 10 cents and sell it for $50. So that's part of the fun, that's the shooting the three, right? For them, and I think you got to be careful when you obviously you don't want to be cheating people, things like that. But that I think that's exciting, Like I said, we went to Half Price Books, and I found this old New Testament Bible, and it was from Collins Printing, and I'm like, oh man, it's like 50s or something. I'm like, oh man, I got this thing. And I paid $8 for it. I think I paid $5 for it. This is nothing, right? But I could read it. That's the big thing. I could read it. And I get home and I go, I got to look this up. This thing may be worth some money. And it was worth $8. Oh man! But I still use it.
You get the excitement.
It was a little
right.
keyed up on that. Same with the stamps. I was keyed up on it too. I was like, they're worth 3 times what they were
back then.
Yeah,
right.
They're worth $6.
Oh, that's like, so my dad, this is a good story and everything. My dad had the original 16 Hot Wheels cars in the package and everything. Well, when he moved out for college and everything, he kept it at my grandma's house and everything. Oh, no. Well, when he came back home, he was going to get stuff. Well, she had a garage sale that day.
Yeah.
And she sold the Hot Wheel cars for $5.
Yeah. My mom had all these records she used like garage sale, just get rid of them. She had the purple and yellow Elvis Presley, and apparently it's worth more than she made on all the rest of the garage sale. She sold it for 25 cents. I just want to get rid of it.
But like records itself is making a comeback too. That's what amazes me. Yeah, my dad has so many vinyls. I took a couple actually to hang on my wall. Yeah. But that's, I'm glad how we're talking about this, because that's where I want to lead into is like, so now we're seeing the fun out of it, the excitement out of it. Now let's talk about what happens if you let the greed side of it get a control of you.
Well, it's like with anything else that we can get into. I think you got to watch and make sure that you're not compromising one for the other.
Right.
Like I want to go fishing, I want to go hunting, but I'm not going to do it on Sunday, right? I got other 6 days a week people won't take a day of vacation to go hunting, but they'll steal from God on a Sunday to go hunting. And I think the same thing is it's true with these. And I don't, the values of those, I don't know how much they're, but people will do it with a fishing pole, a boat, a gun, pickleball, all that stuff. It's okay as long as, like, I'm not going to spend God's tithe on a gun. Right. I'm not going to, that's where you got to be careful.
So you see where I kind of brought this into.
In my case, I was a bicycle rider. And so, we was getting some pretty expensive, Corvettes that we were riding, and it was all well and good, but I'm not, they were fairly expensive bike that I was buying, but I didn't take God's money away to do that. Some would still argue, well, you could have, done that and given it to the poor and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, at the same time, I'm still representing, out on the bike, out riding the bike rallies and stuff. Sometimes not too well, because I get tired about 60 miles out. It's like, oh, I'm dead. But that's it. It's always the case of the balance, and the balance always needs to sway towards what does God want me to do.
Right.
It's just like everything else. I mean, really, it's just like everything else. And
it's like everything that we've talked about before. We always loop back to that key word, and that's balance.
Yeah. And the balance has always got to be Christ first, right? What does he want me to do? Where does he want me to go? And at the same time, or in that, says, okay, do I have these other time frames to be able to do things? And I've said this before, I can't ride now because of my knees, but I love going out and riding bikes. I'd go out and ride every day if I could, every morning, if I could find a place not to get hit by a car. I would go out, but I have other responsibilities, and I'm not going to put that before reading. Guys want to go, let's go work out early in the morning. It's like, well, I know I can, but I just feel guilty that I do that before I get into the Word of God.
Right.
If I do that first, and then if I have time, then I go work out, and then I go do these other things, and stuff like that. So it's always making sure first things were first.
Right. And
monetarily, time, talent, and tithe, the whole 9 yards, right?
Right.
So,
And I love how we can always find that key point, always to loop back stuff. Because in the end of the day, you can have fun. Oh, you can enjoy whatever hobbies you have. You can enjoy, if you're selling things, but learn your key and balance and stuff. Always, and like how you put it earlier, don't put this stuff before God. He always should come first. We have previous videos where we talked about this, how to make a better balance, like on our fatigue video, when you have too much going on.
Right.
And now if you think about you're still exhausted with things, and now you're adding extra hobbies, that's where we talked about last time. You're increasing your stress level. Yeah. So it's time to take that step back. If you prefer one thing over another, don't have that FOMO moment. Yeah. I still use it now.
Okay.
But find that nice median, find that balance, and do the things that you enjoy, but also do what you're supposed to do for God at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like when we went to the Dallas card show, not the one where the theft was, but when I took Harper to our first one, people are thinking like, well, you're going over there, how are you going to testify for God? Well, you know what? Surprisingly, I actually had a moment at the card show and stuff. And it was someone that was wearing a cross shirt and everything. I told him I liked it, and then I asked him questions, and he was telling me about how his friend was the one that bought him, but he really didn't. He just liked the style of it. So we talked a little bit about it and things. And that right there, did I save him? Not at that moment, but I planted that seed.
Sure. Yeah.
So whatever happens after that,
that's great when you can apply those things, and it's excellent. Because in those passions that you have, God gives you opportunities.
Exactly, because you're finding people all over these things.
It's an open door, because you got something already. You're birds of a feather already.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you listen to death metal like I do, you probably could find someone in the mosh pit to talk to God about after you're done headbanging.
If they're not already deaf.
Right. But like you said, birds of a feather flock together, but use those moments if God's telling you to talk to somebody. Look at that. Yeah. He brought you into this hobby that you enjoy. but now look what else he just did for you.
Yeah.
You know,
He uses
uses you.
those things. Yeah.
But it's not saying like God's telling me to go Sunday to fish or
Right.
anything like that. Not like that. Not
I've had guys
what was it
arguing
you
me on
said?
that.
It was more of a preaching in the stands. Was that what it was? Preaching in the deer stand?
Yeah. I had a guy say, "Well, what if I want to go out to Walmart and witness to people on a Sunday morning?" I go, "You got 6 days a week to do that. God told you to be here."
Right,
You know?
right. But
Yeah.
but I think this is a
Preaching
good
in
moment.
the deer stands. Yeah, I like that when people like to take that. Well, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. So that's not a prescription for church.
But how would that really go? Is like if y'all are sitting 3 in a deer stand, y'all talk about it, and that big old buck comes across like, 1 second.
You know what? That's a Jeff Foxworthy moment, right? Right. You see that deer over there? Yeah. If you were to die today, like this deer's gonna die, do you know Jesus Christ is your personal Lord?
So don't use that as an excuse.
Don't use that.
But I'm glad you got to hang out with me. It's been a long time. Glad things are starting to move up. And we're glad to have Kai on the team and stuff. I mean, we're already getting the hand cues to start wrapping this up, so y'all viewers don't have to wait 30 minutes after our video. But like always, this time there's 3 in here, but one of y'all are leaving out. Actually, 4.
Yeah.
4 are in, 1 is out. And we'll catch y'all next time.